Hello and welcome to another episode of Talking Politics on the Hindu's YouTube channel. Now this is a show where we present you some behind the scenes analysis on what the headlines in domestic politics are all about. Now this week the government referred the Waqf Amendment bill to a joint parliamentary committee after vehement opposition from parties such as the Congress, the Samajwadi Party, the Rashtriya Janata Dal and the AIMIM, etc. Now, one would say that in itself, that is not a big deal. Contentious bills have been referred to JPCs in the past as well and have been all the better for it. What is interesting in this case is the politics that got revealed in the process, both in the NDA and in the India bloc parties. And that will be the subject of our episode today. So let's start immediately by just looking at the bill itself. What is the Waqf bill? Now the current bill presented in the Lok Sabha on Thursday was to effect amendments to the Waqf Act of 1995. What is the Waqf property? Well, it is a property owned by Muslims and set aside for a particular purpose, either religious or charitable or even for private purposes. Now these properties are managed in quite a similar manner as those under trust laws, and a Waqf property has a caretaker or a muttawali. Any dispute with regard to Waqf property will be sorted out by the Waqf Tribunal, constituted by the state government, and it comprises of 3 people, not below the rank of a civil or sessions judge, a class 1 officer in the government, and a person with knowledge of Muslim jurisprudence and law. Now, what are the changes that this current bill, the amendment bill, proposes to make? There are 40 amendments, so I'm not going to go into all of that because our episode this time is not to look at the bill, but to look at the politics that it revealed. So therefore, I'm just confining myself to say 3 of the biggest amendments as far as I'm concerned, the most important ones. Now, one is that no person shall declare as property as Waqf, any property as Waqf, unless he is the individual owner of that property. Now, this is in response to various disputes that have taken place where there have been complaints that community property owned by a group of people has been pledged by one individual as Waqf property in order to do something or the other and in order to take control of it through that route or whatever. But now it's been made very, very clear that unless you can prove incontrovertibly that you are the individual owner of that property, you cannot pledge it as Waqf property. Secondly, any government property that has been identified as Waqf property will not remain so. All of it will revert to the government. And thirdly, the district collector will have the powers to decide whether a particular Waqf property is government property, a provision that cuts out the Waqf Tribunal, which I spoke about before, from this process and makes the government the arbiter of these kind of disputes. Now, there are many new things, as I said, which have gone into this bill, but the purpose of this episode is to look at the politics behind it. So we've kind of got a rough idea of what the Waqf bill is about. Let's just go into the politics of it. Well, let's first look at the India bloc. So as expected, the Congress, RJD, Samajwadi Party, NCP, Sharad Pawar, TMC, etc. all spoke stridently against the bill when it was introduced and termed it as an unconstitutional move to encroach on the religious rights of minorities to handle their property and other customary things that are due to them. In all of the speeches from this bloc, there was a notable exception, that of the Shiv Sena Uddhav Balasaheb Thackeray group. No one from that party spoke in the Lok Sabha either for or against the bill. This point was quickly seized upon by the Eknath Shinde faction of the Shiv Sena, with Rajya Sabha MP from that party, Milind Deora, posting on X that this watery approach appeared a little fishy. The next day, Shiv Sena MLA Aditya Thackeray said that the party did not feel the need to speak on the bill as it was already decided that it would be sent to a JPC anyway, and instead said that the government should answer questions on the situation of minorities in Bangladesh imperiled after the fall of the Sheikh Hasina regime in that country. Now, the Shiv Sena UBT was in fact in a bind at that point, as it not only harps on its original Hindutva plank, but it also appeals and receives the vote of the Muslim community in Maharashtra after it became a Mahavikas Aghadi ally. Its own core vote remains the Hindutva vote, and it also has to add this vote. So this particular bill became a little bit of a Hobson's choice for that party. The India bloc, however, was not the only complicated alliance. The NDA saw both the Janata Dal and the Telugu Desam Party, the largest allies of the BJP in the NDA, support the bill in the Lok Sabha. So far, so good. JDU's Lalan Singh, Union Minister, was spoke vehemently in support of the bill, while the TDP's Harish Balayogi said that while he and his party support the bill, he would not mind if the bill was referred to a joint committee. Other allies like the LJP, the Janasena party, did not speak in parliament but had told their allies, the BJP, that they wanted the bill to be referred to a committee. This reflects the fact that the NDA is now truly a coalition where partners have to be taken on board as to their political situation. This is a departure from the last 10 years. TDP, Janasena, LJP and JDU get votes from sections of the minority community and do not want to alienate them. This was extremely clear in what happened on Thursday in Parliament. This coalition dharma-ness, as I call it, is borne out by the figures shared by the organization PRS Legislative Research, which shows that in the last two Lok Sabhas, which is the 16th and the 17th Lok Sabha, where the BJP had a full majority government, only 25% of the bills in the 16th Lok Sabha and 16% of the bills in the 17th Lok Sabha was referred to a committee for a relook. 17th Lok Sabha has such low numbers because that was the Lok Sabha where the BJP had a massive majority of 303 seats. In the UPA era, if you compare, which were both both coalition governments, but not as strong a coalition as the NDA has been. That is the 14th and the 15th Lok Sabha. The figures were 60% and 71% respectively. In the current 18th Lok Sabha, and what seems like a portent for the future, in the very first working session of this Lok Sabha, a bill has been referred to the committee, a joint parliamentary committee. I had said during an episode on the nature of the NDA coalition that I will revisit that story. The Waqf Amendment bill has given me an opportunity to explore the shape of both the NDA and the India bloc alliances. An educative experience for sure, but which reflects the dynamic nature of coalition politics where only interests are supreme. This is all I have for you this week. Thank you so much for watching. I shall see you next week.